right, it is time for Friday Reads. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you my Friday Reads video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share the books that I finished, the books I started, and anything interesting about books that I'm carrying over week to week, and I do have a little bit of everything, so that always makes me happy for some reason. I've lived up to how I introduce the videos. Oh, gotta take the wins where we find them. So, okay, first up, some finishes. I did finish It Begins with Betrayal by Iona Whishaw, and this is the fourth book in the Lane Winslow mysteries. This is a Canadian novel. It is historical mystery set mostly post World War II. There is some flashbacks or dual timeline stuff, and I talked about this one a fair amount this week, so I'm not going to talk about it too much this week. Last week I talked about it a fair amount. I did really enjoy it. I do feel like I kind of wish I had started at the beginning of the series, as this is the fourth book. That being said, I don't read a lot of mysteries, and I do seem to be reading novels very slowly these days, so how long would it take me to get through book 1 through 3 before reading this? I don't know. That being said, my library does have the books, so I did put a hold on the first title. So I probably, what does it have? The first one? A Killer in King's Cove. There's the first one. And half of the second one. These are ones that I altered into 2 volumes so that I don't have parts of the cover. But yeah, so I did enjoy it. It was nice to read a Canadian book as well, although this one is set in Canada as well as in England, because the protagonist in this one, she is friends with a Canadian police detective who served during World War II. He ends up in a spot of trouble overseas, and she goes to help him out. I really like this. This had a strong female protagonist in it. I didn't know her history because I hadn't read the other books, so it started to unveil itself as things went on. I noticed she was quite resourceful and had some connections, and I'm kind of like going, what's going on? How's she doing this? She's pretty awesome. But it never was confusing. I definitely felt like it was fine to read it starting here, but I think I would have gotten more from it if I had started it from the beginning. So that was really exciting. It was also super exciting that her character was actually born in Latvia, although her family is Scottish and lived in Scotland, then went to Latvia, and then went back to Scotland, which is unusual. And why I am excited about that is because my mom was born in Latvia. My mom's family, side of the family is Latvian, so it's so rare that it is mentioned in books at all, I just, so I was really, really happy to see that. But then it was also like that I don't know if she considered herself Latvian because her family was all Scottish, or the family that she talked about was Scottish. So anyway, so that was really, I was just like, what? So that was really an exciting, just sort of like a bonus, and because it's like rarely, people generally don't even know where Latvia is. I find so that was just made it just a little extra special. So there was that, and then something completely different, which I think might be a contender for my favorite book of the year, and that is Narwhal, Unicorn of the Sea by Ben Clanton. This is the first book in the Narwhal and Jelly series, or books. They just say Narwhal and Jelly books. There's 5 of them. These are, I think, I'm not quite sure exactly how to describe this. These are kids' books, obviously, but they feel like comics in a way, because all of the pages have writing, and it just feels very comic-y to me, but I think it's mostly a kid's book, but I guess it's a picture book because it's all illustrated, and maybe because all of the writing looks like it's done by hand. Maybe that's what makes it feel more like a comic. Oh, but honestly, I don't really care about the classification. I just loved it so much. So Narwhal and Jelly meet each other, and they just start to get to know each other, and Narwhal's so cute and so open and so curious and so inclusive and friendly, and I just love Narwhal so much. And it was just such a cute book and cute story. I got it from the library digitally. It's about 60 pages, so it was an extremely fast read. I can't wait to read the rest of the series. I have the second one out from the library, and I think the rest I have on hold. This book took a long time to come in. I think it took 2 months. And I read it in like 20 minutes. But it was such a joy. It was such a joy. I love seeing all the different sea creatures and the adventures and the relationships. It was a lot of fun. So I look forward to seeing more Narwhal. And so another completely different tone. I read The Sheild-Maiden Secret by Wendy Dalrymple. This is a Viking romance novella. It's part of the Bryant Street shorts, which are on Scribd. I don't know if they're exclusive to Scribd, but I thought it would be interesting to try some of them because I know a lot of people read a lot of like Kindle Unlimited stuff, and like I don't have Kindle Unlimited, so I'm like, okay, well, is there something on Scribd that's sort of similar-ish? And this is one that I came across. I actually think for the like summer book bingo, which it was called something else last year. Was it? The August romance event. Oh my goodness, that Sarah and hosted. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. Was it Summer Romance Book Bingo? I'm not sure. Anyway, I meant to read this for that. So I finally got to it 8 months later. 7 months later? Doesn't matter. So this is, as I mentioned, it's a historical romance, a Viking romance. Viking romances are one of my favorite subgenres of romances. And this one I felt a little like it didn't quite hit the marks I was hoping. There wasn't quite enough romance. And I know it's only like 64 pages, but I thought that there would be a little more romance or a little more Viking stuff, but there was a bit, I guess there was a fair amount of pining and thinking and processing and that kind of stuff and working towards something. But I thought that there would be more either romance or more Viking stuff, and there wasn't. There was some Viking stuff, but there wasn't any fight scenes. So I was very surprised at that. And I guess I kind of wanted either fight scenes or more romance, and it didn't quite have that. I also don't know if I would agree how I feel about the title because, it could have been one thing and I was really hoping it wasn't, but I would kind of argue a little bit on whether or not I actually consider the character a Sheild-Maiden or not. And I got a little nitpicky on a few things, which I'm actually going to totally let go because it just lets me know that I've actually been reading a fair amount of Viking books, whether it's historical romances or nonfiction works or watching shows or reading up on the sagas and stuff like that. So I'm like, I actually have started to really cultivate a fair amount of information on this. So I'm going to let go of the things that I was kind of like, I think that's a bit like, but I did say, they said something about the Normans and I'm like, I don't think when this was set, that would be a thing yet. So, and I actually didn't know that until I started researching some stuff after reading a different Viking romance. So it's okay. It's totally fine. So, so I'm going to let me know if you've read any of the Bryant Street shorts. I am going to try. I tried a couple other ones, but this is the one that I decided to go with. So I want to try some other ones because they're all shorter works, and that seems to be working for me right now. Another thing that I finished, and I didn't pick the best picture, was Polar, and this is by Victor Santos. I still have it out from Hoopla. This is a graphic novel. It was made into the film Polar that stars Mads Mikkelsen. That was Netflix last year, or might even be 2019. It's very, very violent, but I did enjoy it. I'm going to show just a couple of scenes here. So they are very violent, so if that's not your thing, maybe just look away for a second. But it's really interesting depiction, especially because it's got a very limited palette, just black, white, and red. And they do some really interesting things with the framing or the boxes and perspectives and forced perspectives and black and white reversal. So like this one has a whole bunch of different boxes. But one scene, okay, so that's super violent, but you see a positive, negative reversal there, white background, black background, but same sort of situation. And then like some really interesting angles and stuff like that. And it just continues. That one is actually really, really special. I thought that was really good. And so I really enjoyed it from the artistic perspective. I didn't super love it in terms of the story perspective, but I knew that going in because I've seen the film, so I know it's hyper violent. It follows, the storyline is, like a professional, like Leon professional, what's that called? Like a hitman kind of situation. There's a guy who's a hitman, he has been for a long time or something like that, and then someone decides to clean house and wants to get rid of anyone who has worked for them before, so a team is sent after him to kill him, but of course, because he's like the ultimate hitman or whatever, he doesn't go down quickly or quietly. So it's sort of that type of situation, crime syndicate kind of situation. Which is not usually my favorite. I have a couple of films that I really enjoy that are like that, like Leon, like The Professional with Jean Reno is one of my favorite films of all time. And but I don't always love it because of the violence and stuff like that. So yeah, but I am glad that I read it. I did get my letter P for my A to Z graphic novel challenge for that one. It was one of the bonus borrows on Hoopla. So if you use Hoopla, check and see if they have any bonus borrows this month. They did have for February. They had a whole bunch of stuff for graphic novels and for movies as well. So I might see if I can see some of the movies on the weekend. And it's a 4-part series, I believe. I don't know if I'll continue. I'll see what else Hoopla has. I may or may not continue. It's so hyper violent, and also the 2 women characters were definitely sexualized, so that's kind of crummy that has gender crap in that sense, and the film was like that as well, so I wasn't really expecting otherwise, but it was a free borrow, so I thought I would get it. But the art was really great. Okay, so what am I currently reading? I am reading Magic Misfits. What's this one called? The Fourth Suit by Neil Patrick Harris. This is the 4th and final book in the Magic Misfit series. I am buddy reading this with Izzy. I love these books. They are illustrated. Let's see if I can find an illustration. Pink, I think it's illustrated. They are illustrated, and they have magic tricks. And I'm really curious to see how it's all going to wrap up in this one. The last one was a little tough emotionally. So was the second one. These all have some pretty amazing emotional themes. There's a lot of diversity in this. The protagonist in this volume, or this book is in a wheelchair. And I've just really been enjoying the series, and she is grumpy. She's definitely grumpy, and it's interesting to hear the inner dialogue of her grumpiness too, and like how it impacts her friendships and what she tries to do to not react or react and stuff like that around it. So it's part of the story as well. And there's been, I think in all of the books, we have had an emotional thread connected to like an actual, something that the character is struggling with, which is, I think, quite impressive for a kid's novel. So I'm enjoying this very, very much. And the live show for this will be on, I think it's on Monday on Izzy's channel, Punk Rock Girl PA. I'll double check and I'll leave it in the description box below if you would like to join in. I know it's like the last book, but still. And then I don't know what we're going to read next. Usually we decide during the live show, so I'll try. And I always try and mention it a little bit ahead of time. I was late to the game on this one, but that's because I started it after I recorded my last Friday reads. So yeah, these are really fun, and ooh, great. I like the back as well. So really fast reads. No idea what we're going to read yet. Next, I should put some suggestions together. And yeah, so that's what I'm reading. And then I'm also going to be continuing on. I've been reading Just a Geek by Will Wheaton, Unflinching Honest Tales and of the Search for Life, Love, Fulfillment Beyond the Starship Enterprise. I got 2 of those words mixed up. But I'm really enjoying this. I was finding it a bit hard, like emotionally hard, but there was a bit of a turning point, and now I'm starting to enjoy it more. And it's just really interesting to hear about his life, his experiences, what he's going through. He is really honest about things, and I really appreciate that, and I'm really looking forward to finishing it. I'm 100 pages in, and it's 260, so I might be able to get to it by the end of the month. Maybe. Another book that I'm hoping to finish, but probably not by the end of the month, is Polar Vortex by Shani Mutu. I put this one down to finish. It begins with Betrayal, so now I'm getting back to this one. This is a Canadian novel. I actually have to say, like, I'm really enjoying it. I love the writing style, but I'm now like 90 pages in, and we've sort of been waiting. Like, there's this anticipation of something happening, and it's like, and are we gonna get there? So I just got to a next section. I think I have a new section starting soon, so maybe we'll get there. Not that I haven't appreciated it up until now, but it just, and also I did take a break between reading it, so that makes it feel longer. But I do want to finish this soon, because in March I'm going to be starting Les Miz, and look, I can hold this with one hand. Why is that? This is only the first of 5 volumes. I haven't actually finished it. I've only cut it. I've cut it, and I've made an end page for it. So I'm going to be, how does this work? I'm going to be gluing this to that. I'm going to create a new cover by gluing this printer paper onto that, and it's got an end page. So there's a spacer page and an end page. I actually started working on this on the weekend. I thought I'd be well more ahead than I am now, and I was going to do it as sort of like a tutorial. Oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. One, I don't actually remember all of the steps in which I do them while I create these into volumes, and I also totally messed up because this end page, I was supposed to only glue half of it. One half of it, and I actually glued the whole thing to a printer paper, so I screwed up. So anyway, so I had that created. That means it took me an extra day, which is why I'm behind schedule. Anyway, but I'm hoping to glue that together and then put a cover on the back. I was really hoping to do. I have these pages, which are similar, but they're not quite big enough to wrap around to the front, because I like to have about an inch on the front, so I haven't done that yet. So I might use this one because it's like the colors of the France flag, and that's enough. I lose Dominic West, but that's about how much space I need. I actually took a picture on my phone of this part, and I might print it on sprocket paper and then glue him back down. So I don't know. I have some other ones that might make the cut. I don't know. And I also don't know if I want ones that's too far, but if I want the covers to be similar, or do I care if they're similar to each other? So I don't know. Anyway, so I am working towards that, but I do want to start Les Miz in March. I want to read it from March of the Mammoths, which means I need to get this together. I guess, I could just put some duct tape, I could just duct tape this down and just leave it at that. I don't have to go as many steps as I'm doing right now. I think what I'm going to do, because I had hoped to do a video and I just realized it's too hard, it's too time intensive. I feel way too responsible of making sure it's super clear, and I don't think I can do that because, as I said, I don't even really know the steps I do to do this, and there's lots of spatial perception stuff, but the goal is to read the book. So for me, as long as it is in volumes that are small enough, because it's like, oh, can I read? There's 3 more of them. So I've split it into 5. Like, there's no way I could hold this in my hands. It's way too big. It's way too big. So it's in 5 volumes now. I lost that one on the side of that. But yeah, this is so much more doable. That's the sweet spot for me, is 200 to 300 pages. This ends up being 270. That is that's the maximum for me. And so, whether or not I make these nice covers and glue stuff and all that stuff and have these pages, these are all from books, art books that I've chopped up, and like because I collect a lot of that stuff because I do use it for art and collage, and I do love rebinding books. I find it really fun. It's just very time intensive. Anyway, I forgot to say what I think I'm going to end up doing is once I have this together, and I have a couple other ones that I want to do, I might do a video where I show a bunch of the ones that I've done and I explain a little bit how I've done them, but not do a how-to tutorial. That was stressing me out so much. As much as I would love to do it, I don't think I can do it well, and I don't want to give anyone the wrong advice on how to do it. So the main thing is to read it. So if that means cutting it up and duct taping the sides, like I would make sure to put something hard, like a part of the reasons why I glue these to printer paper or art paper, sketchbook paper, is just to make it thicker. But like I could easily just duct tape that, and then you do have to glue. I do put a little bit of glue page to page, just like that much. Like, how much would that be? 2/8, so 1/4 of an inch. And I put it on this side, and I mask it off with a piece of paper. And I use the strong glue, like tacky glue. Glue stick does work if you have the extra strength or the Yoo-hoo. See, now I'm starting to explain it again. I don't know. Anyway, but that's my idea, is maybe to show some of them after I have completed a few more in some different styles. With Les Miz, because it's a big book and because it's going to take me a while, I feel like I want to do like a pretty good job on putting it together. But I have ones that I feel way less strongly about, and I just really want to read the book. So I picked up another one that's like 400 pages, and I'm just going to just chop it down and do a really like quick and dirty version, probably with duct tape and like, you know, a cereal box or something. And because the goal is to read the book, right? Like, it's nice if it's pretty or whatever, but the goal is to read the book. So I keep on focusing on that for myself, and so hopefully I will get there. So yeah, I don't know if I'll end up reading this March 1st. I do want to finish Polar Vortex because these are both, you know, literary, you know, and I tend to only read one per genre, or like in this case, attention span, because they're more concentrated effort works, which is why I worked on finishing It Begins with Betrayal, because I knew I wanted to get some of those works, more novel type works, not novel like novelty, but novels, done, so that I could get to Les Mis in March for March of the Mammoths. So I do hope to have a March TBR up. It's a bit fuzzy in my head exactly what I am going to be reading, but there are several readathons I want to participate in, including March of the Mammoths, including March Mystery Madness, and also Translate-a-thon is running for the first half of the month. So those are all ones that I like to participate in. Usually only pick one a month, but considering I didn't do any readathons in January or February, maybe it's okay to do 3 in February. So hopefully I will put a TBR together and have that up over the weekend or early next week. We shall see. And I don't know what other videos. I feel like I'm still finding my feet here. But I am trying. I'm working on it, and we'll see how things go. There you go. I got really long-winded over there at the end, and so sorry about that. And let me know. What do you think? Should I go with blue and matching, or one that's the France flag colors? And then I would, but then, you know, then I would probably have to match it with like something like this. And those, that's not too bad. The center ones will all be completely different because they need to be large enough to wrap around both sides, because it needs to go here, here, here. So I need a larger paper, and I think they'll be mostly from flowers. I have a flower book that I tore apart. I know that used to drive me nuts too, but I mean, once you buy the book, it's yours. You can do with it what you want, and I really feel like that's true. And this is, again, the goal is to read the book, so that's why I'm doing this. So anyway, wish me luck. Hopefully next week I will have this and the other volumes rebound, and I might have started it. That would be amazing. All right, let me know what you are up to this weekend. Are you participating in any March readathons? I would love to hear all about it. Okay, thanks so much for watching.